How to do child's pose for beginners over 40. If you are somebody who is brand new to yoga or you're coming back to yoga maybe after an injury or some time away, I'd like to give you some different options on how to do child's pose. This is specifically for beginners over 40, only in that oftentimes people of a certain age, we're oftentimes dealing with different types of things happening in our bodies, maybe injuries, you're coming back from an illness, things like this. So what I want to do today is guide you through child's pose. There's a couple of different ways that you can do child's pose. Oftentimes what we do is you bring your knees to the outside of your mat. So then my knees are on the outside of the mat. My feet come together. See how my feet have come together here behind my hips? And then just slowly lower your hips down evenly onto your feet. And then reach the palms of your hands forward and slowly release your forehead down onto your mat, extending your arms out in front of you. All right. That is oftentimes one of the more popular ways that we'll do child's pose. A yoga studio, if you're doing classes with me, that's oftentimes the most popular way to do it. However, if you are dealing with any sort of injury, nagging thing that's going on in the lower half of your body, oftentimes this can be an extremely intense pose. And a lot of times yoga teachers like to say, it's your yoga practice, child's pose is always an option, but what do you do if child's pose is really just too intense to do? From my own personal experience, I have 2 rods in my legs and 13 screws. I've had surgeries on my hip, both knees, 1 ankle, both feet. Okay. So I feel like I've got some life experience here to share as well as my yoga teacher trainings, right? So one thing that I have figured out works really well. Now, if your knees are sensitive and placing weight on your knees is just like, this isn't good for me, what you can do is you can roll up your yoga mat 2 or 3 times, make it a little bit thicker so that it's not just so hard on the ground. You can also use a cushion. I've got these daisy cushions here that I like to use. You can they come in a pack of 2. These are Gaiam. They come in a pack of 2. They're squishy. They work really well for your knees if it's just a little bit too intense to put weight on your knees. So what you would do is, one knee or the other, or even both. It comes in a pack of 2s. And you just place it on underneath your knee and then try coming into your child's pose. Another option for you is to, when you come into child's pose, take a block and place it back behind just up in front of your feet. And you can lower your hips onto the block and then come into child's pose. You can play around with the height of the block, whatever's going to feel the best for you. This is where you just got to kind of explore, try a few things out, see what works good for you. One other option that you can do is you can use a blanket. I've just got this folded up blanket here, or you can take a bolster or a pillow and just place it on the back of your shins here, and then slowly lower your hips down onto the bolster and then come in to child's pose. Okay. So that's really going to help take some of that pressure, the tension off of your hips, off of your knees, off of your ankles. So try those out to see if that helps with any, nagging aches and pains that you got going on, right? Now, sometimes coming into child's pose and reaching your arms forward here, maybe that's a little bit too intense. You feel like, wow, like I might be holding my breath. This is a little like, when are we going to get out of this pose? You got a couple options here too. Okay. So you might, this was me for a very long time. I would have a pillow back here, and then I would place a block up here for my forehead. Okay. So reach your palms forward, lower your forehead down, play around with the height of the block, figure out what works good for you. And then you're in your child's pose. All right. So those are several different options using yoga props. Go to heathermonthly.com/props. I've got a list of all sorts of different yoga and fitness props that I use. You can try those out. Another way to do child's pose, you'll see it done this way where you'll bring both of your knees together. So I'm sitting like this. Both of my knees are together. Notice how I'm sitting back onto my feet. Again, if you got bad knees, bad hips, your quads are going to be on fire here sometimes, right? So the same thing applies. If you're doing child's pose with your knees together, bring a bolster or a blanket back behind you. That's going to provide some of that additional support. It's going to take some of that weight off of your knees, off of your hips. Okay, so you can try that. And then what you'll do is when you're in child's pose, you bring your knees together here. What you'll do here is lower your forehead down to your mat and then reach your arms back behind you. I like to just reach for my feet just as a place to put my hands, but you can just reach your hands behind you. So that is another way to do child's pose. You can use your props in the same manner. Bring the bolster underneath your hips. You can bring a block and relax your forehead on it. That's going to be another great option for you. Now, if you wanted to intensify child's pose just a little bit, we've got some options here too. So you might come into your child's pose. I'm going to do wide-legged child's pose. Knees are to the outside of my mat, hips on my feet. Extend your palms forward. Then what you might do here, I've got my forehead down on the mat. Then what you might do is you might bend your elbows, bring your palms of your hands up behind your head and clasp your hands into a prayer position behind the back of your head. That's going to really give you a good tricep stretch like this. You can come like this. And then maybe bring your chin down to your mat. That's going to give you that additional stretch. You can take blocks. This one you'll need 2 if you have 2 hands. You'll use 2. Or if you have 2 arms, you'll use 2. Extend your arms out in front of you. Lower your forehead down towards your mat. So now because your arms are raised up, you're bringing your forehead further down past your arms, okay? And then you can do the same thing here. Bend your elbows into a prayer position behind the back of your head. One way that you can really intensify child's pose, you're in child's pose, forehead is down on the mat. You're in child's pose. And then what you can do is take your right palm and reach over towards the right side of your mat. And then bring your left palm over on top of your right palm, okay? So the way it looks like is this. I'm in my child's pose, right palm comes over to the right. Bring my left palm over on top of the right. And when you're doing that, when you're bending over to the right, pay attention to your left hip. If your left hip popped up off of your foot, bring it back down. If you're not able to bring it back down, just release the bend just a little bit. And then you can come back to center and do the same thing on the other side. Bring your left palm over to the left side. Head comes over, right palm over on top of the left. Notice how my right hip popped up a little bit here. So I'm going to just come back in towards center. And then return back through neutral. Those are a couple of different options that you have as a beginner over 40 for doing child's pose. You can do it as your instructor tells you how to do it, or you've got a couple of different options, whether you are trying to support your knees, your hips, your ankles, your arms, your feet, whatever it might be. Use those blocks, use a bolster, use a blanket, use cushions. These props are here. They're available for you. They're there to assist you in your yoga practice, either to make something more accessible to you or to make something a little bit more challenging for you. So now that you've got a couple of different options on how to do child's pose, I'd like to invite you to check out a couple of my yoga flows that I have here on my YouTube channel. I've got several 10-minute yoga flows here on my YouTube channel. I try to keep them a little bit shorter so that you just kind of get a good taste of how we do it. Check out these 10-minute flows. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. My name is Heather. I'm from yogastrengthacademy.com, and I'll see you in the next video.